to let my people, let my people, let my people go. As I look out here, get a little nervous. I know we're supposed to be on Union territory, but you know how the Confederates are trying to sneak in on us, right? But I got something for them if they come up in here. I know that. Because, see, I was born to Benjamin Green, Harriet Green, and Benjamin Ross in Dorchester County, Maryland. Now, when I was born, and before that, in my place in my mother's womb, God knew that he had a plan for me. Oh, it was time for freedom to arise, but he had to have someone that was going to be strong enough to bear all the burdens, all the whippings, all the name callings, all the things that was going to cost her to be free and bring others to freedom. Now, as a child, my name was Amadine, but they called me Minty because I was, real small and tiny, little to my size. Oh, but don't let that size fool you, because I was mighty and I was strong, headstrong. But there was two things that we were taught being enslaved. One was to believe and the other one was to know. You had to know that if you didn't do what Master said, you were sure to get beat. You better believe that. And taken away from your family, never to be seen or see them again. I remember one day the slave wagon came through and my mama was standing there and the tears were just rolling down her eyes because they were taking two of my sisters and they had them bound in chains and they had their hands bound and they were screaming, "Mama, Mama, please help us! Help us, Mama!" And all my mother could do was stand and let the tears roll down from her face because she could not save her children. As the wagon rolled off and the screams got dimmer, my mother stood there. And when I looked up at her, I felt the pain in her heart. I felt the hurt of losing another child that she would never ever see again. And at that moment, when that came into my spirit, as a child, I took on my mother's pain. I took on my mother's hurt. I took on anger as time came about. Now, being a child, I don't know nothing about that because, see, as soon as you could get up and you could run or walk, Master put you out there to work. He finds something for you to do. You was not going to sit around and play like his children did. You know why? Because I was taking care of his children. Oh, yeah. Master would take me up and he would rent me out because, see, all I was property. I wasn't a human. I wasn't a person. I was nothing more than property. A piece of property. So when Master would lend me out to other plantations to do whatever works they needed me to do, but by again I say that little small size, I'd get sickly a lot because the clothing, I had no proper clothing and it was cold. We were in Maryland, snow, freezing. I remember when he sent me one time to the steward's house. Oh, that Miss Sarah, she was some kind of hateful and mean. And it was only because of this, the color of my skin. She didn't know the child. She only saw the color. that I was property, and property is something that you can do anything with. She would slap me and beat me just to look at me because I was breathing. But me, I was strong. And as I said, the more I got beat, the more angrier I got. And the more angrier I got, the more I wanted freedom. And the more I wanted freedom, I knew that I was going to get it. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but I knew I was going to have freedom. So one day the stewards had got a little stirred up, and they was back there in the back, and they was fussing. Well, it was this big sugar bowl sitting there on the table, had cubes of this white sugar. And when I would see the children go and get a piece, oh, they would get so happy, and they'd just get to running and just having a good time. I wanted to feel like that too. Remember, I was a child. So, since they back there fussing and stuff, I said, well, I'm going to sneak up here and I'm going to get this sugar. I looked back. I didn't see him. So I eased on up, and just as I got my hand right there, watch out! Here come Miss Stewart from somewhere behind me with that stick and that pallet. She hit me on my back. But when she hit me on my back, I popped that in my mouth and I took off running. And I ran and all night long I hid because I know that they was going to call back over to the plantation and they was going to tell Mr. Brodus that I had done, and that means that they was going to send me back. Now they want their money back that they done sent to him for me to come up there and work. Well, now he done lost money. Remember, I'm property. He done lost money. So now that becomes another beating for me. For every whip that I wore on my back, for every lash that they gave me, again I say, it just brought anger into me. Well, now as time goes on, I'm a teenager, and I remember they had sent me up to the store to get some feed. Well, when I went in, a friend of mine, I had told him about one day we gonna run. I didn't mean then, I was just saying we was gonna run. Well, he decided he was gonna take off and go. I said, no, I don't think you need to go now. This ain't the time. Oh, but I'm going. Oh, I don't think this is the time. But he took and he ran anyway. Now, while I'm in the store, here he come busting through the door. Bang! Right behind him come the overseer. Here he come right behind him. So I'm standing there and I'm looking at what is going on. So now the overseer says, gal, I want you to go catch him so I can beat him. I looked around like I didn't know what he was talking about, like I didn't even speak English. Well, by that time, my friend went running around that other side, and here he come, and he dashed across past me. Well, when he dashed across me, now the overseer saw this piece of metal sitting there on the thing, and he took it and he chucked it and threw it. But I caught the lick. I caught that steel in my head. And when I fell to the ground bleeding, none of them buckrans helped me up. They told somebody else who was there, you need to go get a ma and pa and tell them she down here and get all this blood up off of my store. That's what the buckran did for me. So my mom and pa came down to get me. And when they came to get me and took me back over to the plantation, the women worked on me and they wrapped my head and they put the salves on me, trying to stop the bleeding. Oh, I was knocked out for long days. And all they could do for me was pray and moan and cry and moan and cry. Precious Lord, take her hand, lead her on, let her stand. She's tired, she is weak, she is worn, but through this storm because they knew that I was dying. But see, one thing about the God that they serve and that we serve, he is a miracle worker. He is a healer and he is a provider. And that's all they had to believe in, was that the Almighty was protecting them and would protect me. So after a few days, I came out of it. But what I came out of it was with this extra sight, meaning the spirits would lead me and show me things that other people didn't know.